Asabaro, Starfish Entertainment. But to me the beat. Me no one proof, me no one rule. Me just want do the music that is really cool. Me just want say this generation feel my groove. This generation feel my groove. Me just want pull up.
Our next speaker is a lady, yes, and she's an autism ambassador, a special needs coach.
Something to say to me, but before I start, when you look at someone, just get a good look at me, and can you tell what I've been through? When you look at the smile on my face, can you tell what I've been through? You can't. What I'm basically saying is that the smiles that we put on our faces hides quite a lot. Sometimes this smile is a coping mechanism, and I have been one of those who has used the smile over the years as a coping mechanism, and it helps. Sometimes it can actually be negative because you may be masking something that you actually have to go and seek help for, but the smile works magic. Can I take my seat now? Yeah. We all have heard about the story in the Bible. I'm not so good at quoting Bible verses, but we all have heard of Goliath and David in the Bible. We know how David used, I think it was just a stone and a catapult to kill Goliath, and how big Goliath was. We could not imagine that he could be killed by small David. Why I'm saying this is because sometimes we may look at our problems that they are too big for us to seek a solution to these problems. But no, I'm also going to relate that David and Goliath to life and death, to someone who actually fought a Goliath, but another form of Goliath which none of you will not imagine what that Goliath was. And this David, actually his name is David. He should be 4 years in September 11, but in heaven. Yeah. So this David, I called him David, hyphenated James. So David means cherished, beloved, and James is a kid. So he was just 22 weeks, 2 days gestation. That's not up to 6 months in my tummy, and way back in 2017. And he actually lived in my tummy for 4 good days without amniotic fluid. I think there's a medical doctor in here, so I'm not of the medical field, and I just have a little bit of experience in that area. So you know that feeling, that joyful feeling, that you sit there, you enjoy your pregnancy, and you're getting used to it, changing your wardrobe, and then suddenly something happens. That's what happened to me. Another twist of the story, it had to take the loss of a baby. It had to take the loss of my baby Jays for me to discover that I had been grieving, for me to discover that I had been struggling with depression for so many years. And I've come to realize that, or I've come to learn that sometimes it takes a challenge, sometimes it takes a tragedy for a change to happen in our lives. Sometimes it has to take something very drastic, maybe something as sad as the loss of a baby, for you to discover that you have to maybe work on yourself, for you to discover that you have to make some changes as far as your life is concerned, and for you also, maybe just for a new you to be born. It had to take the loss of my little boy for me to know that I had been grieving another son of mine who will be 16 in October. before the loss of this little baby, all I knew about grief was you grieve when you've lost someone. But actually, grief does not only mean death. You can grieve the loss of a relationship. You can grieve the loss of a huge sum of money or the loss of a job. You can grieve, people grieve when they have divorce, when they've lost their wives, husbands through divorce. But it was then that I discovered that I have been grieving my son, who is right there with me. Why was I grieving him? Because he is autistic. And he was born premature. So I discovered then that the same feeling, the same emotions that I was going through or that I was experiencing were the same emotions that I've been experiencing over the years. Obviously, when you are pregnant, as I said before, you have these memories, you have these sweet dreams, aspirations, and then suddenly your baby comes out early. You still have to grieve the baby you would have had at full term, which is what I was supposed to have done with my first boy. And then, in the process of your son growing up, you discover, please stand, in the process of your son growing up, you discover that he's got a diagnosis, he's got a disability. You grieve when your child has been diagnosed with a form of a disability. In my case, it's autism. Not only autism, cerebral palsy. And then over the years, you have epilepsy. And then you keep waiting and waiting and waiting for your son's first words. You don't know when he will ever say mom. Sometimes you crave just for your child to tell you, mom, I hate you. But you're never going to hear that. I haven't heard it before. I think the first time he ever said something was mom. He was about 3.5. But one thing which I've learned through this journey is that we do not actually need words to say I love you. Our children, us children, to our parents, we do not actually have to say I love you, we can show it. There are so many ways, which is how I have been communicating with my son. Going back to grieving a child with a disability, we go through those stages of grief. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she has her 5 models of grief, which you have denial, you have anger, you have bargaining, you have depression, and then you have acceptance. I grieved when I lost my baby, and I went through those stages. But going through those stages, I discovered that I had been going through the stages because of my son who is autistic. I discovered that it's absolutely necessary for us to be able to grieve. Many do not grieve. Many think if I run away from my feelings, I will feel better. If I don't talk about what has happened, probably I'll feel better and I will move on. Do we really move on? We don't move on with grief, we move forward. We move forward when we are grieving. Obviously, when these tragedies happen, we are shocked. They shock us. Have you ever asked yourself, when someone tells you, do you know your neighbor just passed away yesterday? What usually is your reaction? Really? I just talked to him yesterday, so how come the first thing that comes to your mind is denial. You don't believe. And then there's this thing that happens when you've lost someone or when you are grieving your child with a disability. Sorry, I will obviously have to use, because it's personal story, so I'm using my experiences. Losing a child, having one with a disability, yes. You go through that state of anger. You are angry with the situation, you're angry with yourself, you're angry with everyone around you. Those are normal emotions that we go through. They are normal emotions that we have to go through. You actually get angry with every other person around you, which is when I think it's at that point that blame comes in. You blame yourself, blame people for what they could have done or for what they did or for whatever reason. And then you get to that point where you start bargaining with God. See, God, if you just make my child just talk, just say one word today, I will honor you for the rest of my life. I will praise your name. If you just make this baby come back, just leave today, I'm going to be spending my days and my nights in the church praising your name. That's what happens with bargaining. That's what happens because you don't actually know what to do at that particular moment, but those are still coping mechanisms. And then we reach that point where we have started understanding, we are fully aware of what we are going through. That's where we start approaching the acceptance stage. Now you are accepting your reality. Now I am saying, God, this is the situation I am in now. Yes, I know that you've given me this baby, you've taken the baby back. I know that my child is autistic. I know that I will always have looks, I will always have comments, I will always have people who will never understand. Yes, this is my reality, and I have to make adjustments to my reality. That's when acceptance starts coming in, and that's when you start feeling peace with yourself and with people around you. That's what I've been going through. That's what I went through. I actually didn't say anything about depression. There's that point as well where depression, if you are not careful with the way you grieve and how you handle your grief and how people around you support you with your grief, you can be hit very badly with depression. We all know about depression. Depression can take a day, depression can take a few months, depression can take years if care is not taken. So depression is one of the emotions that we go through when we are grieving. Now, I survived what could have killed me. I survived losing the baby through preterm birth. I remember that day where I was being rushed into the theater because my baby was preterm, so my placenta obviously wasn't ready to be delivered. So the baby came out and the placenta got stuck. So I had to be taken to theaters for it to be sprayed out. So what I'm saying today here is I survived what could have killed me, and I wrote a book. While I was there at the hospital, journaling was one of my coping mechanisms. We all go through different challenges each and every day of our lives. Like I said at the beginning, when you look at someone beautifully dressed, smiling, and most often we don't wear our problems on our faces. Some do, but some don't. One of the things I have actually done, or how I have coped over the years, is I love this word, awareness. I so love it. It's being aware of your situation, being aware of what you are going through, and then understanding what exactly is it that you are going through. When you are aware and you understand, that actually leads to acceptance, because once you do not understand or you don't accept your situation or your difficulties or your challenges, it is very difficult for you to succeed. It is very difficult for you to move forward. I survived what could have killed me, and I wrote the book Grief to Grief. I was speaking with Professor Furo Fokuziwa for the third a few days ago. He looked at my book and he said it should be grief to bring to growth. So, any challenge that you face in your life, aim at gearing towards grit, growth, success, and using your experience to help others in the same situation, because it is very likely that you may not be the last person, or you may not be the first person to have had that experience. And experience is what you gain when you didn't get what you wanted. So I didn't get my baby, I didn't get my baby James, and my autistic son, probably I was thinking that by now he'll be talking, he'll be he's 15, he'll probably be thinking of having a girlfriend. I didn't have that, but I still have him. And I still have his other younger brother who is non autistic. But I've got the experience, I've got the voice. I am the leading voice of hope and empowerment to individuals facing challenging and complex life issues, including special educational needs. I share my story to encourage you, to empower you, to inspire, and to give you hope to be able to speak up, speak if shared.
Thank you very much, Madam Claris Angafor. Very touching story. Some of us had a tear or two. We're going to have a break, a musical break. Let's relax a little, have some music, maybe get ourselves into a lighter mood, because trust us, that story was really deep and sad. But like she ended on a very high note, and that is what is most important about these stories that we are telling. These success stories, these really difficult things that people have gone through, things like she said that would have taken your life away, but you were able to pull through. So you may be seated in the hall this evening and you are contemplating so many things, but we're hoping that with these stories from her and all the other speakers we're going to have tonight, by the time you step out of here, you have nothing but hope and strength to pull through as much as is needed to get to the path of purpose that God has aligned for you.